itong topic natin ngayong gabi, basically pag-uusapan natin, is Sara Duterte unbeatable for president in 2028? And if so, who can beat Sara Duterte? Or to phrase it in another way, uh, who might who might have a fighting chance against Sara Duterte in 2028? Actually, gusto kong pag-usapan itong topic na ito last week pa. Kaya kinonta ko na yung ating panauhin for tonight. So I'd like to welcome again to our program si Mr. Alan Herman. Magandang gabi po, sir. And
Magandang
thank you for
gabi,
joining us.
Ian. Nagulat ka kahapon? Nagulat ka, nahulog ka sa silyo mo?
Ako, sobra ako
Dun sa
nagulat
announcement?
sa anunsyo ng Vice Presidente. Okay, tumbukin na natin. Oo, bilang isang political strategist na sikat talaga, na napakaraming
Naks naman.
kliyente. You know.
Naks naman.
Is the president, it's the president. Sorry po, naging
Yan ka na naman. See? You fell into your own trap.
Ito po ba si Vice President Sara Duterte? Can she be considered unbeatable for president in 2028? Sa prangkang usapan.
She is definitely the front runner, di ba? Para sa mga trolls dyan na gusto na mag-bash. We'll acknowledge the fact that she is definitely the front runner. Definitely she has a lead. Kumbaga may head start siya. Kung race to, no, may head start siya. She has the narrative. She has a strong narrative. She inherits a very, very powerful brand. And she has the anti-administration change partiality ng Pilipino working for her. So, is she ahead? Yes. Is she a strong candidate? Yes. Is she right now the strongest candidate? Absolutely. Is she unbeatable? Nobody's unbeatable in politics. Dito sa mundo natin, if this profession has taught me anything, it is the fact that nobody is unbeatable. You'd think, really, just gusto kong gumamit ng mga examples last election, kaya lang baka may mga ma-offend ako eh. Pero last election, may mga local candidates that you thought were just insurmountable in terms of leads, na bilang ang ending, hindi sila natalo ng malalaking margins, no? Especially in local. So the tide is shifting politically. The tide is shifting, and the unpredictability is getting more and more it's more and more prevalent ngayon, yung pagiging unpredictable ng elections sa Pilipinas. Siguro sa Senado na lang tayo tumingin, di ba? Yung mga iniisip mong mga sure win sa Senado, hindi nakapasok. That's perhaps the best example I can use, di ba? Yung mga old familiars, yung mga orcs, old familiars, their relatives, the celebrities, hindi sila nakapasok. So nag-iiba yung tide. So walang unbeatable. Haba ng sinabi ko, pero yun yung crux of what I'm trying to say. Walang unbeatable na kandidato. Wala.
Okay. So ang sagot niya sa tanong, is she unbeatable? No. Pwede siyang matalo. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Bago natin himayin yung mga reasons, basically let's talk about the timing. Kasi ang conventional wisdom ng mga ordinaryong tao, kami yun, na hindi political strategist, kaming mga common, mga casual commentators.
You have not authored any scholarly works or have had published journals internationally.
Yes.
Oh my God, the riffraff. You're the riffraff.
Yeah. Ang conventional wisdom na meron kami ay, pag nag-announce ka this early, you're exposing yourself too early as well. And
absolutely,
you have a lead time in terms of preparing. You also have you're also giving that advantage, so to speak, to your opponents to attack and hit you, basically. Similar to what happened to Jejomar Binay. Kaso ako naman, bilang isang casual observer, parang sa akin, correct me if I'm wrong, hindi ma-apply sa kanya yung nangyari kay Jejomar Binay, who also made this intention early. Tapos binakbakan siya, and then natalo siya ng 2016. Kasi iba yung following ng Sara Duterte. Cult-like.
Cult-like, number one. Number two, the vastly overrated factor on why the Binay model or the Binay framework doesn't apply to Vice President Inday is really, magugulat, siguro, marami magugulat, mahuhulog ang mga pinggan, but actually very predictable. It's really the rise of social media. Because during the time that then Vice President Jojo Binay was running for the presidency, legacy media ang nangingibabaw noon, traditional media, tri-media, print, radio, television. So ang hirap sagutin, ang hirap sumagot. Wala kang evangelists, one way ang information. Kung ano yung kinakaskade na informasyon, yun yung nababasa ng tao. There's no feedback mechanism. Yes, there's no feedback mechanism. Wala kang tagapagtanggol na 15,000, whether they're real evangelists or trolls. Walang pwedeng gumawa ng 700 Facebook pages in a day para depensahan yung mga akusasyon, or walang pwedeng easily maglihis ng issue. Unlike today, in this social media driven era, the Binay model really would not apply that much to Vice President Inday. Apart from the fact na sinabi mo, talagang yung mga supporters ni Vice President, rabid is the word. Talagang they're gonna bite on that bone and they're not gonna let go. Facts be damned, evidence be damned, feelings, protestations be damned. Talagang hindi kakalas yan. Naks, nagamit ko yung line. Walang kumakalas. Naks.
Okay. So, dalawa yung description niya na pwede, no? Rabid fan base or cult-like following.
Even your obsession with cults, man.
Hindi, 'di ba? Kumaga talagang highly emotionally driven yung yung support, hindi ba? Kumaga medyo kahit anong policy yan, basta Duterte kami.
In fact, the perhaps more scholarly term is she commands the anti-establishment vote. She's the anti-elitist, anti-oligarch, anti-imperial Manila, anti-authority vote. She's a rebel rock star ang dating ng mga Duterte. They're the rebel rock stars. So, really very hard to dislodge or surmount. Kaya siya lamang. Kaya siya talaga lamang.
Okay. Ang tanong ko dyan, so rebel rock star, yun ang description sa kanya. And of course, I agree, no? Pero, how come he was able to assume this particular persona, this particular narrative, and maintain it even with more strength? Given the fact na, dynasty rin kayo.
Dynasty rin.
Naging parte siya ng establishment until the unit team disintegrated. Tapos marami rin mga issues laban sa kanya. Marami rin sila mga kadikit ng mga
it boggles the mind, no?
Yeah.
It boggles the mind because again, the Dutertes are themselves a mighty and fat political dynasty. They really are, di ba? And tama ka. They were able to add on to that by joining the administration in the unit team ticket. But siguro had that continued, had she not broken away from the unit team ticket, I personally, of course, hindsight is always 100% correct. Pero sa tingin ko, kung hindi nabuwag yung unit team ticket na yon, hindi ganito kalakas si Vice President Inday Sara Duterte. Tingin ko if she had stuck it with the admin, nakalakas nung kumalas. Then it became anti-establishment again. Then they're the downtrodden again. Then they are the anti-elitist, anti-imperial Manila champions again. Kasi nga, nagkaroon ng complete breakdown dito sa unit team. For me, that was the major inflection point kung paano na-resuscitate, if not revitalize, yung Duterte brand na talaga namang na-perfect ng kanyang ama.
Hindi ba, of course, baka obvious naman yung sagot dito sa tanong ko, hindi ba sinusuri din ng mga tao kung merong ginagawa yung vice presidente? Dapat buwis natin nagbabayad dapat naman, di ba? Imagine kung ikaw meron kang halimbawa staff sa opisina, tapos wala naman, di ba, ikaw nagbabayad ng sweldo, tapos 4 out of 5 days naka-leave, di ba? Punta ko sa tapos hindi mo talaga alam ano bang ginagawa, tapos hindi nag-liquidate na expenses, wag binigyan mo ng bread, ang kanyang sinusulat dun sa liquidation form, trust me bro, di ba? Parang kailangan i-liquidate na yung mga ginastos niya para sa isang business thing, tapos ang sinulat, trust me bro, it's confidential. Talagang may iinis ka, di ba? But again, the myth, the weight of her persona and the Duterte brand, talagang yan ang biblically, magiging Bible scholar na naman ako. Yan yung talagang literal na scales in your eyes. Diba? It forms scales in your eyes. And until those scales fall off, you will be caught up in a cult of personality. See? Cult nga, nagamit ko nga yung word. So, it's really personality politics that will override everything. Tama yung sinabi mo, Ian. At the end of the day, kahit latagan mo yan ng lahat ng ebidensya, lahat ng arguments, ang ending pa rin yan is Duterte pa rin, mga ulol. Diba? So, how can you argue with that? Duterte pa rin,
how can you argue with that?
Pangit, mamatay ka na, bakla.
With an O. Olol, mga olol. Oh, yeah. I'm sure we're getting it right now.
Opo. Hindi ko lang ginamit ko lang yung word na bakla, baka sabihin niyo naman kagaya ko sila, no? Kasi ito po yung mga binabat nila. Pero tulad na sinasabi ko lagi sa inyo, 2026 na, hindi na po dapat ginagamit na pejorative yan. Kumaga, pero kasi yun ang binabato sa mga katulad ko yung mga ganun
There's absolutely nothing that should not be, in the first place, that should not be pejorative term. Tama ka doon.
Hindi po siya insulto. Ayan. Okay. Let's talk about the timing, no? Although alam ko marami nang nag-distill nito kahapon, no? So, from your perspective, was there any rhyme or reason behind that? Nag-declare siya kahapon.
For me, it's actually a sign that there was a Of course, I'm making this up. No, I'm taking very, many creative liberties. Nako mga trolls, sana maintindihan ninyo yung term ko na creative liberties. Katang-isip ko lang buto. Sa tingin ko, ang nangyari dyan, there was a hurriedly, hastily called meeting na parang critical na, oy, ano nang gagawin natin? Yung mga allies natin, medyo talagang nadedelikado. We are facing a heavy impeachment because this is so not consistent with the Duterte playbook. The Duterte playbook is to delay.
Pakipot.
The Duterte playbook is pakipot. The Duterte playbook is there is a clamor, run, Digong, run. Diba? Please run. The country needs you. Nagmamakaawa kami. Please tumakbo ka. And the answer is, I will decide in due time. Or an outright no. No. Babariling ko kung sino ang pumilit sa akin tumakbo. And yet, in the end, tatakbo. Ano?
Meron pa. Sasabihin nila, hindi nyo magugustuhan kung manalo ako. Mga ganon.
Kung manalo ako. Yes.
Ayoko yan. Ayoko yan. Ganun.
Ayoko talaga. At ayaw ninyo ako. Dahil pag ako naging presidente, blah, blah, blah. And alam mo, you can't criticize that because if it isn't broken, don't fix it. It works time and time again. So itong ginawa ni VP Inday Sara kahapon, that is so not attuned and in line with the Duterte playbook. So something had to happen. And as most commentators said in various interviews, including myself, I think that something was the impending impeachment. Kailangan nila ng dalawang bagay. Kailangan nila ng narrative control or a narrative anchor. So what was that narrative anchor? Shinif nila yung mindset between beleaguered vice president to leading presidential candidate. That's why we're having this discussion right now, Ian. Diba? We fell for it. We fell for it because our Facts First episode now is Sara Duterte unbeatable in 2028? So na-shift nila yon by declaring yesterday. Na-shift yon from beleaguered to leading. And then secondly, they were able to hang a negative sa lahat ng kritiko nila. So ngayon, lahat ng lalabas sa impeachment, lahat ng lalabas sa mga ibabato sa kanya, iisa na lang ang sagot. Kasi nag-declare ako eh. So lahat yan, politiko yan. Binabakbak nila ako because I am unbeatable. So, you know what? Hats off, man. Good political chess.
Okay. Bago
may mga nagko-comment yata na parang wala ho akong kinalaman doon. Absolutely not. Magagalit ang mga tunay na nag-isip ng mga tunay na strategist ni wala ho akong kinalaman doon. Nothing to do with that at all.
And then sa akin naman, I agree, no? Yung kanyang narrative control, which is a term that I learned from you, no? Yung narrative control long ago. Pero the fact na kailangan niya ilabas itong barahan na ito, and I suppose ito yung pinakamalakas na barahan niya. Nilabas siya this
That's their biggest card. That's their ace.
Okay. So I suppose they were threatened talaga by those impeachment complaints.
Absolutely 100% in my estimation. Of course, they will deny that. Of course, the trolls will hit us in the comments and say, wala kang alam, pulpol, ganun. But in my estimation, where I sit, absolutely. And if you're an astute observer of political dynamics here in the Philippines, alam mo yun. Kaya mo lang ilalabas yung big guns. Kaya mo lang ilalabas yung nuclear option, di ba? Mag-nuclear option ka lang pag talagang medyo existential na yung threat sa'yo. Kailangan mo na ipaalala sa congressman, hoy, just in case nakakalimutan ninyo, sa 2028, baka malamang magiging presidente na ako, kaya ingat-ingat kayo sa mga ilalabas ninyo. Ingat-ingat kayong bumoto sa mga senador na baka iniipit kayo dyan, baka may squeeze play. Remember, 2 years is a short amount of time. You're gonna have to deal with me. So for you to actually have to play that card, that in and of itself is a statement.
And it had to be the queen.
It had to be the queen. Yes, Queen's Gambit. Yan.
Kasi 'di ba, yung ganyang naratibo, pwede namang iba magsabi for you eh. Kasi alam naman ng mga tao yan eh. 'Di ba? For the longest time, yun naman iniisip at pinapalutang din ng kanyang mga taga-suporta. Hindi, gusto niya siya matanggal sa pwesto kasi takot kayo sa kanya sa 2028. But this time, the only difference was that it was the vice president herself, hindi ba?
Herself, di ba? Herself. That spoke volumes. Kasi she has been scarce. A lot of her time she spends out of the country in The Hague or avoiding media interviews. Pero the fact na siya mismo yung lumabas, hindi siya nagpadala ng pawn, di ba? Or umasa sa mga SOCMED commentators. Mabigat 'yon. May implications 'yon.